Good evening and welcome to the Plan Commission for the City of Hudson. And it is April 11th, 2023. I will call the meeting to order and we will do a roll call.
Pat Casanova,
Here.
Fred York,
Present.
Randy Morissette,
Present.
Susie Coram,
Present.
and Roger Rydell.
Here.
We have a quorum tonight.
We do meet the quorum standard, so we'll move on with our agenda of business. And number 3 is consideration of the minutes from our last March 7th meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Any corrections or otherwise with the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Public hearings. We have a public hearing, so those that are online in regards to the public hearing, try to raise your hand. Tiffany will give us a high sign or let us know someone's there to talk with our public hearings. And the first item on it is public hearing on conditional use permit, the CUP review application for a temporary garden center at 1800 Ward Avenue, Garden City LLC. Is there a representative here tonight? If you want to take the podium, if you want to give us any headlines of what you're doing up there. You need to come to the podium.
Introduce yourself, your name.
State your name and address for the record. Thanks, Fred.
It's Camilo Reyes Ogando. That's my name.
Okay?
I live in Cottage Grove, Minnesota. And we used to be across the street from the Target in the old Family Fresh parking lot
Yep.
for, I believe, 3 years now. But they rent the place, so we can, because of parking lot issues, we cannot be there anymore. So we contact another landlord, and we signed a license agreement for to move the temporary garden center to this new address.
Okay. We've done it in the past with a different outfit up there in the plaza.
Yeah.
So, and there were no issues.
Nope. And they already have experience in town because they've just been in another location, so.
Right.
I will move to approve it.
I'll second it.
Well, this is the public hearing.
Well, then I won't move to approve.
So, any other further comments? Any other further comments on this? One more time, are there any further comments on the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is closed. Now moving to 4B, discussion and possible action on the conditional use permit, CUP, review application for temporary garden center, 1800 Ward Avenue, Garden City, LLC.
Now I will make my statement as to, I think we should move ahead and approve this. So
I'll second.
I vote to approve it.
So it's moved and seconded by Pat. Any further discussion?
There's a farmer's market that operates up there in that same parking lot. Will this impact them?
Hasn't in the past, they've kind of fed off each other.
So this has the same footprint as one that was previously in that lot, is that true?
You'd certainly ask him if it's smaller or bigger.
As far as the area you're taking up in that parking lot,
Yeah, it's the same as before. I mean,
same as
whatever we
Family
did in the
Fresh.
Family Fresh, yes.
Are you having 2
No,
tents, just one?
just one, yeah.
Okay.
There's one greenhouse, like 42 by 48. So that is the actual greenhouse size.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or further conversation?
Well, I think the old one used to be situated different in that parking lot. It used to be over on the southwest corner, where I think you're on the northeast corner, or on the southeast corner.
No, it's gonna be in the same corner,
Oh, it is.
yes.
I saw the map, I
But,
guess, but I don't remember it.
We don't wanna block the line towards the end of it, so you can drive around.
Okay, okay, well, thank you. You clarified it.
Okay. Thank you. It was moved and seconded. Is any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. We will recommend approval at our next council meeting, April 24th.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Number 5, unfinished business. I don't see any on the agenda. Number 6, new business. Discussion possible action on final development plans for 2221 Jack Bro Drive, A and K Shirley properties.
So the applicant is proposing a production and office addition to their existing building in the city's East Business Park. The proposal would be the same as what was presented, the concept plans, except this one now includes some landscaping and lighting on site. With that, staff is recommending approval of final development plans for A and K properties with those stipulations, which also includes review and approval from the St. Croix Business Park, being that it is part of that.
And Ryan is here. Ryan, do you have anything to add? If you state your name and address for the record, please.
Brian Shirley, I live up in 648 Chestnut Drive in Richmond. It's pretty straightforward. We're just doing a office addition in the front, a little bit of warehouse addition on the south side, and then situate the landscaping and redo what we need to do along there.
Does that bring a few more jobs to Hudson?
It should. They're growing and expanding that builder's millwork that's in that building now. So,
Good. Great. Thank you.
yeah.
Move to approve?
With the contingencies, or?
I didn't
Yeah,
know what
with-
he did.
yeah.
Oh.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Susie? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll recommend approval on the 24th, Common Council. Our next agenda item is discussion possible action on certified survey map, CSM, extraterritorial zone, Town of Hudson, at 593 Lynette's Road, Hudson Dental Building, LLC.
So this applicant has submitted a CSM on behalf of the property owner to subdivide a 2.73 acre parcel at 593 Leonard's Road, which is a Town of Hudson property, into 2 lots. So lot 1 would be 1.3 acres and lot 2 would be 1.43 acres. And being that the property is within the city's 3-mile extraterritorial zone, that is why we have subdivisional review authority over this Town of Hudson property tonight. As the property meets our standard ETZ subdivision requirements municipal code, staff is recommending approval of the CSM with the condition of ensuring that all building setbacks from roads and streets adheres to City Municipal Code, Chapter 255-69D, just kind of a cleanup type of thing.
Move to approve?
And I'll second with any conditions, if there are any.
Just one. Okay. Is there any further discussion on it? Is there a representative that needs to address? I don't. Okay. Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll recommend approval on the 24th of April. Thank you. Item number C, discussion possible action on recommending the Common Council set a public hearing date for zoning map amendment from I-1 Light Industrial to B4 Central Business District at 727 2nd Street, Operation Health.
So these applicants have applied to rezone the property at 727 2nd Street, as Randy mentioned, from I-1 Light Industrial to B4 Central Business District. They're proposing to modify the former Norlake building into a multi-use office space and center for nonprofit organizations. Aside from Operation Help and the Backpack Program, other nonprofit tenants have expressed interest in renting office space on the second level of the building after modifications to the building would be completed at a future date. The proposed B4 zoning district would require a future conditional use application for whatever use they end up ultimately with there, and that would require review by the Plan Commission and Common Council. And it should also be noted the city staff does have some concerns regarding the intensity of the proposed use at this site. However, we are in favor of this zoning as it does coincide with what the comprehensive plan has in place to limit the expansion of downtown further outward from where it currently sits.
So really, that building is gonna be occupied then by, say, office space?
Yep.
Corporate headquarter type stuff?
Yep.
As it was before?
Yeah.
That's what I thought, thank you.
Any further comments, discussion?
This property will no longer be on the tax roll, correct? I mean, it's, since it's nonprofit,
If
it's,
there's nonprofit, then yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Representatives, do you have anything to add to the conversation or any comments to be made?
Unless there's questions.
I have one further question. Who, then with that city's loss of revenue on a deal like that, how do we make that up?
And that's the question. There's, amongst others, that's a question that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Typically, when we do it, we don't necessarily make it up, but
Well, no, and I'm not trying to be rude or
No, I get
anything
it.
other than, I'm sure they paid a fair amount down there, and you can't the whole town can't be full of churches and things that don't pay taxes. And so I guess that does concern me a little bit, that we're losing property from the tax base.
yep.
And so that's the only reason I raised the question. I mean,
Fred, you asked the question about it being a corporate headquarters, as is the current use of the building. However, my understanding is there will be traffic that this will be a distribution point as well, correct?
I don't believe that is so.
it's the second part of this.
Okay.
Yeah, that has been, maybe you guys can come up, because your fact sheet, your fact sheet said otherwise, and I think you've got enough neighbors around you that are opposing that kind of distribution center, and I don't think you guys want to make that kind of wave, so.
Sure. Bjorn Nesvold, 342 Lindsay Road in Hudson. So the program as it is today, specific to the backpack program, which, Chris can speak to even more than I can here, but is going to be completely reimagined and done completely differently for the purposes of intensity of use, traffic, flow of people, flow of vehicles, et cetera. And so as the community understands the Hudson Area Backpack and Food Program today is completely different, which is what was in the fact sheet that everyone has seen over the last month or so. So will there be, will the conditional use permit have the distribution of food on it? Absolutely, which is obviously a separate topic from the rezone and would be addressed at that time, but not at all in the way that it is currently done today. So I just want to make sure to point that out. Would be all held within the parking lot that this building has that will be redone, paved, striped. So all of the flow and the activity coming and going from the building would be housed and taken care of in the lot of the building itself. So I don't know if you want to add anything.
Well, we have taken steps to make sure that we've addressed the city's concerns. So have redesigned programming to limit the amount of traffic, because we do care about being a good neighbor and a good community citizen. So we have specifics on that we'd be happy to discuss with anyone who's interested.
Good.
Well, with that being said, is that intersection being 1 block north of the light, and the grade of the hills and everything like there, are not set up for a start, stop, drop off, short-term park at all.
That is not part of the plan.
It would be horrifically dangerous.
Right.
And then to cross there with no lights and or mechanism, which people would do, again, just a bad deal. We're thinking that, I'm going to say it to you, we're thinking those thoughts, because if you were going to have something that those circumstances would come into play, you would not get smiles on our face, I don't think.
Right, which is why.
So that's, I guess I'm saying it on purpose, and throwing our cards on the table so you know.
For sure. And that's why I mentioned we have it contained within the parking lot that exists at that building. So there wouldn't be crossing of streets, start, stops, et cetera. It would just be an entrance to a parking lot and then an exit.
Will the parking lot then be large enough to hold the office capacity or the intended capacity of the building and this at the same time?
Correct.
It will.
Correct.
Thank you.
We've done an extensive capacity plan for both traffic in and out of the building, and then taken that into consideration in making sure that we can handle the traffic in the parking lot as well.
And what would the traffic be? Is this people picking up food for their personal use?
So for purposes of this meeting, can you do a quick summary of the difference of what you've reimagined it to be from what we understood it to be maybe 2 months ago?
Sure. So I think there's general confusion right now with what's happening at St. Pat's because we don't have a permanent space to work out of. We have 4 hours a week that everyone that we serve has to get there in those 4 hours. So you can imagine the intensity is pretty busy in those 4 hours. What we've done in the new center is that we will spread out that level of traffic into 30 programming hours.
Yeah, so it becomes a Monday through Friday, no weekends, some hours in the morning, some hours in the afternoon. So it's spread out versus what everyone who's familiar with the program will have seen if they go to St. Pat's during a distribution event currently.
But my comment comes into play again, you know, let's just say people coming to do that, let's say they're coming north on Highway 35, and they decide to turn left, you know, at the intersection where the building is to go down the hill to go to the parking lot. Well, we could really have traffic problems there because it would stack all the way back up to the light and get all things if there was traffic coming from the other way. And so that's why we raised the concerns is there's some issues there that just aren't right, aren't conducive to, you know, a lot of people coming in quickly, you know, on short-term visits with a car, parking a car and trying to get somewhere to get something and then get right back out of there. That area is pretty tough for that. And that, again, that's part of what I said earlier, but just to be more, hopefully, explain it to you or what we're thinking.
Sure.
And anyone that's been to St. Pat's during the food distribution, it is controlled chaos up there. There's a lot of folks that are going through there.
Same holds true. There's a church on 4th Street that does it during the week, and if you ever drive by there, it's mayhem trying to get down 4th Street.
Which is why this is completely different for those exact reasons. So I would urge you to take the vision out of your head of what is currently happening because that's not what will happen. It's a completely separate concept with scheduled times.
We welcome that.
Yeah. Like everybody
We've
does.
also heard, you know, just again to tell you what we've heard, that other nonprofits have looked at this location and they've gone away from it saying it can't handle the business model we want to put in there due to traffic.
I'd be curious to hear who that was.
I would too.
So 2 questions for you. You said it'd be scheduled time, so are you saying that anyone that comes through there has to schedule ahead of time?
correct.
Okay, so you know exactly how many every day.
Exactly.
And what are your expectations for the growth of the program over the next 1, 3, 5 years?
We haven't grown at all in the last 9 months. So we took a look at service projections for the last year in planning capacity for the building. At our the current average for the last 12 months puts us at about 7 households in and out of that building an hour.
The capacity study that was completed was up to more than double the existing capacity they're serving. So we did the capacity study from Monday through Friday, sequence, orderly, scheduled, and the capacity for this space is 2 times the capacity of people currently served. So if they double the program, that gets to max.
2 things to consider with what's in front of us before we get way down the road with it and how it's going to operate. We're here whether or not to approve a public hearing or not. And those are the 2 questions we have to decide. Is it worth the public hearing to listen, or is it not? Is it a big enough concern to where we don't feel it is?
I feel they have their right to their so-called day in court, and so I will move to approve that we move this forward so they can, all other people can hear it and evaluate it on it, such as we have. But we're not giving it any yay or nay, we're just forwarding it, correct?
Right.
Okay, just so it goes forward in that context, I'm perfectly fine.
I will second.
Any further discussion?
I have a problem with this, but I think what you're doing is a good thing, but taking property off the tax rolls just rubs me the wrong way.
That's still part of it. I agree.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of a public hearing?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No. I think it would behoove us to get some more information.
Yep.
Because I don't know what you're talking about now that you've changed your plan.
That fact document that you have is the plan.
That is,
Changed.
That
That's
hasn't
been
changed.
consistent.
okay,
What I'm trying to express is that the plan, as people see it today as they're operating, because they're operating out of a non-permanent space, is what people think about when they think of how that works. And that's not how it will work in this space, that's all. But that fact document you have is accurate.
okay. So at this point, I would guess touch back with staff on the next steps moving forward. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and let me make it clear to everybody, no one's opposed to what you folks are doing. It's where it's located. And Roger's other
Couldn't agree more.
concern as well.
Couldn't agree more. That is the issue.
Yeah. Okay. Item D, discussion possible action on the follow-up review of Riverfront Square final development plan and a certificate of compliance at 22 First Street, former 106 Buckeye Street, Riverfront Properties, Inc.
All right, so this was originally approved April 11th, 2022, last year, by the Common Council, and the final development plan certificate of compliance are now returning for follow-up review as required by Municipal Code Chapter 25585B when development projects lapse beyond 1 year of approval. So city staff are reviewing the development agreement for any possible amendments in case things may have changed, but otherwise, we do recommend approval of the final development plans again so that they can be forwarded to council for reapproval again.
I will so move with all the existing conditions remain in place.
Yep.
And any that come out of
The development
further
agreement.
review be added to it if that becomes something that needs to be done.
Fair enough.
I'll second.
Any questions or concerns? Is the developer here on that? Yeah, see you back there in the corner. Did you have anything to add?
No, it's identical to what it was last year.
Very good. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item E, discussion possible action on a downtown design review certificate for Nicollet Law Office at 517 Second Street, Suites 204 and 205.
Right, so Nicolay Law is requesting to install a larger wall sign where they have an existing wall sign on the upper primary facade of the building at 517 Second Street. The existing sign is 15 square feet, but the new proposed sign would be 38.4. The increase is found by staff to meet all municipal code dimensional requirements and NR 118 statutory regulations. Therefore, we do recommend approval.
What kind of sign is this going to be? Is it going to be hanging or on the wall?
It's on the wall,
On the wall.
flush against the wall.
The applicant is online, but it's just a bigger increase sign.
Right, right. I didn't get that far in the packet. Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number F, discussion and possible action on the downtown design review certificate for Beloved Makers at 212 Locust Street.
So Beloved Makers Company is requesting to install a 5 square foot projecting sign and to also set up a 6 square foot sandwich board sign on the sidewalk in front of their store. Both signs do meet dimensional requirements outlined in municipal code. Therefore, we do recommend approval of this certificate with the noted condition in the packet stating that the sandwich board sign not inhibit pedestrian foot traffic and must also allow at least 5 feet of sidewalk width from storefront to street curb for pedestrian traffic as required by ADA guidelines.
Being on that hill, does that bring any issues to mind? Slippery?
With the sandwich board
Well,
sign?
with the ground sign, not the hanging one. Just thinking. Yeah, it's by Mickelson's, right?
It's the old
Just up the hill.
Canokies.
Up the hill.
A little bit, but that's,
It's the old Canokies, isn't it? It's not, no?
Okay, well, no, I just wanted to ask the question,
What do you
okay.
mean slippery?
It's the one before that.
When winter time, snow, and ice, you know what that is.
Yeah.
Well, like that area of the sidewalk can be slippery, and so people are holding on to the buildings to get up that section and all that, and if there's something obstructing the sidewalk, it makes you go one way or another around it. And I guess I'm just thinking, is that in the way, and should we just realize that could happen before it does happen? Or would they just not put it out in the winter?
I don't think it's in the way at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing, right?
Well,
That's
the hanging one, no.
hanging one. He's talking about the sandwich.
I'm talking about the sandwich,
Oh,
the
yeah.
sidewalk one. No, not the hanging one, man. If they had a basketball hoop on it and it was 7 feet, maybe it'd be in the way,
It's
but
with there for a little bit there. People have been using them. I don't know if it's been an issue.
okay, well, no, I just, that went over like a flat tire, so we'll just drop it.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion?
We have other businesses in town that use the same.
Right, I know that.
If it's not asked, it's never bad to have a question that needs to be asked, so.
Well, the other thing that happens, all those sandwich board type signs, is typically they go out on the weekends only, or special times, they're not out daily. And none of that was brought up in this, and so that, then of course I read it as continuous and every day. With that in mind, then it becomes an obstruction on the sidewalk, and then makes me say what I said. And so, if it's used as the others are, of course, it's not an issue. I mean, end of story. But if it changes the uses and all that, I mean, we'll end up hearing about it, and then maybe we do something about it. I don't know, but.
Yep.
But anyway, that's why I was asking.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 7, communications and items for the future agenda. And then we have 7A, City of Hudson Zoning Code Update Project.
Yes. So I would like to announce that Cedar Core and city staff are preparing to host 2 open houses on May 3rd between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., as well as May 4th from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., all at the fire hall, the new one, obviously, because the old one's not there anymore. But yeah, this is all going to be dedicated to talking and discussing about the downtown overlay code itself. And I know Cedar Core is planning to do a presentation during the open house both times. And there will be a Q&A session following up from that, immediately following. I would like to know a couple other things too that we're doing to try to advertise this a bit more, other than just announcing it here tonight. But we're sending out a press release in the newspaper so that they can send it out publicly that way. But we're also doing postcards, similar to how we did with the comprehensive plan update. It'll be direct mailed to everyone who owns property in downtown Hudson, as well as those who are within 300 feet of the downtown overlay district itself. So that would include several of the neighborhood residents immediately around us as well. And then within the postcard, there will be a link or QR code for people to go online to take a survey to talk more about like some follow-up questions regarding downtown overlay code zoning and any questions or concerns that they might have as far as applying for downtown design reviews or development plan reviews or stuff like that. So, yeah.
I would like to make a recommendation that the planning commission at least be at one or the other of those meetings, or go individually or something, just to show that we're concerned and we're part of it. Number 2, I would ask that you would word this invitation that is going to be sent out to people to make them think strongly about how they need to be involved in this thing. Do you want to shape the downtown of Hudson's future and building and what it looks like? I mean, you need to ask provocative questions like that to get the interest, to get the people there. Mm-hmm. And I would hope you just say, we're holding a meeting. Well, I mean, that's like, who cares? Make it so it sounds like.
Make it enticing.
So you come.
Yes.
We want you there, and here's why.
Cookies and treats work.
Well, that too. Well, I hope you see what I'm saying. I mean, let's make it, try to get people there, because what ends up happening is if that doesn't happen, we approve stuff and it goes through and they don't like it, they're gonna yell at us and we're gonna say, hey, wait a minute, we tried to show you and tell you about it. Let's get them involved, please. I mean, as we've done on the master plan, we tried and tried and tried to do that. And if somebody came and threw a rock and hit me in the head on that one, saying, how come we didn't know that? And I'd say, we tried and we tried our darnest to make people aware of this, and the people didn't show up. I have no guilt feelings whatsoever, and I'd like to have that on this.
We would too. Staff agrees.
I mean that as a constructive suggestion.
Absolutely.
That's
Thanks,
it.
Fred. Anything else? Anything else for future agendas?
Yes, you left off what we were to put on last week about open dumpsters in parking lots.
So Public Works is in charge of those leases. They're currently working on that, but it's,
Lisa's, wasn't it part of our zoning approval of those things that garbage locations be put in and behind gates and closed stuff and all that, or?
It's two different issues. This is that is now probably going to come under the Plan Commission's purview, but Public Works has always had the lease agreement between the business owner and those dumpsters.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, thank you. You've clarified it.
So,
Thank you. I move we adjourn if there is no other items on the table.
is there no other items on the table? Is there a second?
Second.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.
You guys set me up to embarrass me.